Fairy. I have flowing blade and bending jade. Chapter 41. Because of Genryu Sai, Urza didn't invite Gray, nor did he sit next to Natsu. Natsu didn't get knocked out, let alone put his head on Urza's lap. So, this time Natsu was not left on the train. Instead, they were the first to rush off the train after it arrived at the station. Ha ha ha, resurrected. Ambiguous. But before a few people had a rest, they heard the noise from the train station. What happened? I thought I heard Tron or something. Shall I go over and see what happened? Genryu Sai disappeared in front of everyone with Shunpo, as if teleporting. After finding several staff members, Genryu Sai immediately asked, what happened? Someone hijacked the train. A man with a scythe led a group of people into the train station and hijacked the train. I know those people. They are members of the nearby Dark Guild. By the way, I also saw a man holding a three-eyed skull flute, and the one with the scythe seemed very happy after seeing it. Several staff members spoke quickly. Three-eyed skull flute. Lullaby. It's the curse song, magic, and that flute is lullaby. Urza rushed over and said with serious eyes. Isn't curse killing magic banned by the Magic Council? I've read in books that the curse song is a dark magic that can kill anyone who hears its voice. Luce's face changed drastically, and she said loudly in surprise. Genryu Sai glanced at Lucy unexpectedly. This newcomer knows a lot. The kind of book that Lucy mentioned is rare, and there should be no sales in the market. There is such a dangerous magic. Hey, what did they want to do with that lullaby? Natsu and Happy asked suspiciously. They hijacked the train and they must have an ulterior motive. Let's chase after it. Natsu said. They're on a train, how can we catch up? Urza grabbed the staff next to him and asked, when will the next train arrive? The next one is an hour later, but there has been a hijacking incident, and there is a high possibility of outage. There is no other way, we can only use the magic four-wheeled vehicle. Do you still want to take the car? Genryu Sai patted Urza's shoulder and said, don't worry Urza, hasn't something happened yet. Calm down. Sorry, I lost my composure. Urza took a deep breath and calmed down. Genryu Sai said with a smile, you are an S-rank mage of the guild, you have to believe in your abilities, it seems that these years of practice are not enough. Immediately afterwards, Genryu Sai asked the station staff, how long has the train been hijacked and left? It's been almost 20 minutes. Genryu Sai touched his chin and said, is it almost 20 minutes? It should be too late. After saying that, Genryu Sai jumped off the platform. The spiritual pressure surged all over the body, and the strong sense of oppression made many people around feel unable to breathe. Breaking the way number 57. The earth turns. Under everyone's shocked eyes, the ground suddenly began to undulate and swell abnormally. Ding ding. All the rail spikes were ejected. Immediately afterwards, the ground rolled away like a sea wave. The passing rails were all turned upside down by the ground, flying all over the sky to form a very spectacular scene. Everyone in the station was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. My god. What happened? Natsu said excitedly. Ahahaha. As expected of Genryu Sai, there is a way. Okay. Now, let's chase. What kind of method is this? It's going to scare people to death. Lucy complained loudly. Haha. The train should be flying in the sky now, just thinking about it makes me burn. Soon a few people rented a magic four-wheeled vehicle and set off along the railway. Lucy asked curiously, but why are there so many dark guilds? Does the Magic Council care? Genryu Sai explained, the Magic Council is only responsible for the management of joining the formal Magisters Guild, and actually has no management rights for the Dark Guild. The Dark Guild actually has an alliance organization. If it goes too far, the Dark Guild will also retaliate against the regular guild, so the Dark Guild has existed for a long time like a rat in the sewer. Lucy was taken aback and said, wouldn't we be retaliated in that way? There were some, but those who retaliated disappeared. How did it disappear? Genryu Sai said lightly, it was destroyed by me. Scare. It's really easy to say scary things, really worthy of Genryu Sai, huh? At this time, on the train, Eisenwald Ace, Death Aragorn holds a skull flute in his hand. Unexpectedly, lullaby, known as the curse song, is such a flute. It is said that everyone who hears the sound of this magic flute will be cursed and killed. With this thing, the plan can be perfectly executed. Kaga, you did a good job this time. It's just good luck, the small ones dare not take credit. Aragorn, the god of death, said vigorously, the era when the Magic Council ruled the mages is coming to an end, and the next era will be led by our dark guild, Eisenwald. Oh 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 oh. A group of Eisenwald mages shouted excitedly. Boom. Aragorn, god of death, suddenly frowned and said, did you hear any sound? What sound did you hear? The sound of a train moving. Suddenly, there was a violent shaking in the train carriage, and all the carriages of the moving train were thrown into the sky. Ah! Wow! What happened? The ground, the ground. While all Eisenwald members screamed, their bodies kept bumping around in the car, and the car rose into the air along with the ground. Some were even thrown out of the carriage, and then their bodies were smashed into pieces by the carriage behind. Boom boom boom. The carriage of the train did not stop after it fell to the ground. Because of the effect of inertia, it kept sliding, bumping into each other, and it took a long time before it came to a complete stop. Shua shua. Crack. Two wind blades slashed across, and a train carriage was directly cut in half. Aragorn walked out of the carriage. His body didn't seem to have suffered any serious injuries, but blood flowed from his forehead. What exactly is going on? The sudden attack made the death god, Aragorn, roar angrily. After a while, people climbed out of other cars one after another. They looked very miserable, with bruised noses, swollen faces, and bloody heads. Look at the ground and the rails. These people looked at it, and saw that the ground was piled up like waves, the rails were bent abnormally, and the train was completely overturned to the ground. The enemy is attacking from behind through the ground. The rails are also completely destroyed. None of these mages were fools, and they quickly guessed where the attack came from. Death, Aragorn said with an ugly face. Whether it's because of the leak of the news, or because of the hijacking of the train, no matter what it is, it can't destroy my plan. You stay here to stop the enemy, no one is allowed to disturb my plan. Some people must hear the sound of the flute. After speaking, the hurricane of choice appeared under Aragorn's feet, and he flew forward in the whirlwind. Not long after, accompanied by the sound of the magical four-wheeled vehicle, Genryusai and the others arrived here. Looking at the wavy land and the destroyed train around her, Lucy felt a chill in her heart, but luckily she wasn't the one sitting on the train. The scene was so tragic, she finally understood why Genryusai was called a disaster. Fairy Tale Guild. At this moment, the survivors of Eisenwald also came out, saw Genryusai and Urza, and recognized them immediately. After all, Fairy Tale has become very famous in recent years. Urza asked coldly, where is Lullaby? Sure enough, it's for Lullaby, give up. Lullaby has been taken away by Aragorn, and it may have been used by now. You are too late. There. Flames burst from Genryusai's fist. Wait. Aren't you asking what Aragorn is doing with Lullaby? Genryusai said coldly. No need, if any of you survived, you would definitely be willing to tell me. There. Hiss hiss. A fist of fiery fire surged from Genryusai's arm. The intense high temperature scorched the earth, and everything it passed was burned to ashes. Wow. Help me. This fire can't be extinguished at all. Ah. Strange. Monster. Now, is there anyone willing to tell me where Aragorn has gone? I said. As long as, don't kill me. I'll tell. You guys. Genryusai glanced at him and said, say. Yes. Aragorn took Lullaby to Keluoba City. Urza's face suddenly turned pale and ugly. Keroba, that's where the presidents meet. At this time, a person said with a wry smile, haha. That's right. It's the place where those old guys have a meeting. As long as the lullaby is played, all the guild leaders in that place will be cursed to death. There. Before the man could finish speaking, he was wrapped in flames and burned to ashes in a short while. I'll take a step first, and you can arrive later. Genryusai said to several people. Urza looked serious, and said, well. Be careful, we will rush over as soon as possible. I still have to take the car, vomit. Stop rambling, get in the car. Genryusai's eyes were fixed, and he turned into an afterimage and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. Urza grabbed the terrified Natsu, threw him into the car and gave chase. The other side. Aragorn rode the hurricane forward, and the closer he got to Kroba, the more ferocious the smile on his face became. It's almost here. As long as we kill all the presidents of the Guangming Guild who are getting in the way, we will be up to it in the future. Aragorn was carrying a huge sickle and holding the skull flute tightly in his hand. His heart couldn't hide his excitement. Oh, is that really the case? But at this moment, a voice full of extreme disdain and ridicule sounded above Aragorn. Who? Aragorn was shocked, and immediately followed the prestige. I saw a handsome young man appearing in midair higher than him, just standing there, as if the ground under his feet was not air, but solid ground. Genryusai glanced at Aragorn slightly, and said lightly, "Are you the so-called god of death? You guy, who the hell?" Looking at the boy who suddenly appeared and was suspended in midair just like himself. Especially when he saw that the other party was deliberately flying a little higher than himself. Aragorn suddenly yelled in displeasure, "How dare you act presumptuously in front of your god of death? I'm so impatient with you. Hee, your name really makes me miss." Ignoring the other party's sarcastic words, the corners of his mouth unconsciously curled up slightly, revealing a slightly mocking smile. Genryusai said faintly, "Actually, I prefer the name, Reaper, to Flame Calamity." Pity. As soon as the words fell, the brilliance suddenly appeared. Pucci. With the sound of a sword cutting through flesh and blood, the sound of blood spattering sounded. I saw that Genryusai had appeared behind Aragorn, and a wound from shoulder to abdomen appeared on Aragorn's chest, and blood flew into the air. Ah! The severe pain was transmitted from the nerve endings to the brain at this time, allowing him to react from the absence. Under the pain, he screamed instinctively. However, Aragorn's reaction was not slow. At the moment he felt the pain, the magic wave under his feet was released, and the whirlwind became more violent, and he wanted to distance himself and escape. However, it's over. Not long after he fled, a cold voice rang in his ears, and the long knife in Genryusai's hand suddenly came out of its sheath, and then slashed out mercilessly. What? The pupils in Aragorn's eyes shrank suddenly, shrinking to the size of a needle point, and his eyes were fixed on the back figure that suddenly appeared in front of him. His eyes were full of deep horror and deep disbelief. Puff. Pucci. Following a clear sound of blood splattering, and eyes full of horror and unwillingness, Aragorn's body slowly melted into two halves from top to bottom. Then the corpse separated and fell into the endless earth. Too weak, and Urza-chan is too careful. But it's kind of rewarding, at least Urza agreed to date me this time. The long knife in Genryusai's hand slowly retracted into the sheath hanging from his waist. Slowly lower your body and place your feet on the ground. Is this the magic flute lullaby that Urza and Lucy called, curse killing? He put the three-eyed skull flute in front of his eyes for a closer look, and even put it near his mouth and blew it hard. At the end, Genryusai was a little confused, so he said to himself, "It seems that there is nothing special." In response, silent tears flowed from the three eyes of the skeleton magic flute lullaby. "Hurry up, someone, take me away from the hands of this terrible devil. Anyone can come." Lullaby shouted silently. "It's really the Reiatsu that Genryusai showed just now, it's too scary. Especially that knife. Lullaby could feel it, it was a knife that could kill souls. Near Keluoba, on a certain trail. Perhaps, there should be something really different about this thing. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people wanting it." Genryusai squatted on a big rock, carefully and repeatedly studying the skeleton flute with three eyes in his hand. Lullaby. He muttered to himself, "It should be that the method I used before was wrong. Genryusai has been tried by stepping on it, soaking in water, simmering on a low fire. What is the method? What is the method used?" He picked up a big stone, and then smashed it vigorously on Lullaby's green skull. While smashing, he kept muttering, "Could it be that we need to use a more special method? What are you talking about? Or is it that I didn't smash hard enough?" Thinking of this, Genryusai chose a bigger stone and hit it harder. Boom bang bang bang. Oh. By a disc. Accompanied by the dull sound of smashing things, there were bursts of miserable screams from time to time. After about 10 minutes, poor Larabai was pretty much out of shape by Genryusai. Genryusai smashed 3 of the big rocks used to carry out violent acts. But the nightmare is far from over, and I feel that using stones is not very enjoyable. Genryusai simply set up another grill, tied Larrabee to the fire and started grilling. Unsurprisingly, Lullaby continued to scream miserably. I didn't see it, this thing can withstand tossing. It's not broken. Holding Lullaby, which was not in the shape of a flute, and observed it carefully for a while, Genryusai couldn't help sighing sincerely. Buzz. Genryusai. Genryusai, here we come. Just when Genryusai was about to make a new attempt, the buzzing of the magic quadricycle and the voices of Urza and the others came from behind. Oh, you are here. Genryusai, who was playing with the toy in his hand, waved the black stick in his hand. Genryusai, where's Aragorn? Didn't you catch him? Urza asked with a pale face. Crazy output of magic power all the time, keeping the magic four-wheeled vehicle at the highest speed consumes a lot of magic power for her. Genryusai, what is that black stick in your hand? Are you going to grill here? Hey, I want to eat grilled fish. Natsu and Happy looked at the fire in front of Genryusai and the stick in his hand, swallowed and asked. Bang! Bang! Urza looked displeased and punched Natsu and Happy who were standing in front of him on the ground one by one, and said with fierce eyes, I want to say this several times, we are not out for an outing. Natsu and Happy were lying on the ground, tears streaming down their faces. After suppressing the two unreliable guys, Urza turned his questioning gaze to Genryusai. Oh, don't worry, Urza-chan. Be serious with me, and don't add Chan after my name. Urza's cheeks flushed slightly, and he looked at Genryusai with a lazy face. This guy, it's too shameful to call her that in front of other people. Also, Lucy, what does that gossiping look in your eyes mean? Ahem. Seeing that Urza's eyes were wrong, Genryusai immediately coughed twice knowingly. Aragorn has been killed by me, here, this is the broken flute. La la. What's the matter? Forget it, it's not important. Genryusai raised the black stick in his hand and said casually. Lucy couldn't help complaining. By the way, do you not remember what the curse song is at all? Is this the forbidden magic lullaby? Urza looked suspiciously at the black stick in Genryusai's hand. As for the news that Aragorn had been killed, she simply ignored it. Compared to the legendary forbidden magic, a mere dark guild is nothing at all. Yes, this thing is quite hard. No matter how hard I smashed it, it still hasn't broken, and it hasn't been burnt by roasting it with fire. Why don't we keep it and use it as a grill for barbecues in the future? I didn't say that it is still unhealthy to use an iron grill. Genryusai held up Lullaby in his hand and babbled endlessly. It seems that the curse song that everyone fears is the best grilling tool in his eyes. Lucy complained smoothly. Use that magic flute for barbecue, I will definitely not eat it. Why? Genryusai asked incomprehensibly. Hey. Because Lucy likes grilled fish too. Not at all because of this. Won't it burn out? It's so interesting, let me try. Natsu jumped up excitedly again. With flames in his mouth, he sprayed on the flute in Genryusai's hand. There. After the flame passed, the flute seemed to be a little darker again, but there was no sign of burning at all. It's amazing. Genryusai is right, it can be used for grilling. Natsu laughed and agreed with Genryusai. Right. It can also be used to grill fish, hey. Lucy covered her head and complained. I said it all, Lullaby is not a barbecue tool. It's better to give this thing to the president and let him make a decision. After thinking for a moment, Urza said calmly. Both of them were a bit disappointed. However, Urza directly ignored it and asked Genryusai to drive the magic quadricycle to the meeting place of the president. Here is an explanation of the character of the protagonist. Some readers may feel that the character of the protagonist is changeable and not the same person. In fact, just like the characters in many hot-blooded comics, he will appear lazy and even naive when dealing with his partners. He is very indifferent towards his enemies. Even in reality, no matter how serious a man is, he will become naive in front of the person he loves. And some people who seem naive and unreliable will also become naive when facing people or things they care about. Serious, even indifferent. Kroba. Seeing that Makarov was safe and sound, Urza immediately shouted in surprise, President. That's great. You're fine. As he spoke, he hugged Makarov. Makarov's head hit Urza's armor, and Makarov screamed, it's so hard. The reason why Urza still came to Karoba was because he was worried that the Dark Guild would have other plots against the leaders. Makarov has always regarded the members of the guild as his children, and Urza, Natsu, and Genryusai have always regarded Makarov as his dearest father. They can rest assured only when they see that the president is all right. Urza, Genryusai, Natsu, Lucy. Why are you here? Makarov asked suspiciously. President, it's like this. Urza immediately began to explain to the president why he came here. All the guild leaders were a little scared when they heard Urza's words. They didn't expect that there would be a dark guild, and they wanted to wipe them all out. Oh, Xiao Ma, it seems that I have accepted your love this time. A chubby man with a bald head wearing a tight purple suspender top, with a face of a ladyboy with heavy makeup. Seeing this outfit, Lucy shivered and asked, who? Happy said, it's Bob, the president of the Wizards Guild, Blue Pegasus. Hey. Blue Pegasus. Is that the super famous guild? Is this what the president used to be like? Lucy often reads Magus Weekly, and Blue Pegasus is also a very famous Magisters Guild. The main reason is that there are many handsome men and women in Blue Pegasus members. Oh. Little Urza has grown up and has become so beautiful. Isn't this little Genryusai? It has become more and more cute. Would you like to come to my guild for development, and I can introduce you to the most beautiful one in our guild. Here you go, girl. Makarov said dissatisfiedly. Hey. You actually dig a wall in front of me as the president, you don't take me seriously. Well. Just kidding. Next time I will dig secretly. Bob jokingly said that Makarov didn't care either. He and Bob are very good friends. What? Is he Genryusai? The man who is called Flame Calamity and Disaster. I didn't expect him to be so young. Can make the Magic Council bow its head. This young man is extraordinary. Heroes are born as teenagers. Many guild masters watched Genryusai whispering. Lucy asked Urza curiously, what? Is Genryusai so famous? Urza explained. Genryusai is quite famous among the guilds. After all, Genryusai was the first to destroy the Magic Council headquarters. President, what should I do with this lullaby? Urza snatched the black stick from Genryusai's hand, handed it to Makarov and asked. This black stick is, Curse Song, Lullaby. The Wild Breath. Quattro Cerberus, Guildmaster Goldmine leaned over, rubbing his chin and talking to himself. Makarov bowed his head and thought seriously for a while, then said lightly, destroy it. As long as this kind of evil thing exists, there will always be people with impure thoughts who want to get it. That's right, Pony. Bob, the president of Blue Pegasus, agreed with a smile. But his smile was disgusting to Genryusai. As if sensing Genryusai's gaze, Bob turned his head and gave Genryusai a wink. Genryusai felt cold all over, almost as if he was stabbing someone with a knife. Suddenly, a gloomy voice sounded, it's humans. If you want to destroy me, go to hell. What? A burst of green smoke emerged from the skull flute, and then formed a huge and terrifying monster with a height of more than 20 meters. Lullaby, who had been pretending to be dead, didn't care so much when she heard that Makarov and the others wanted to destroy her. Monster. Ah. It's not good. Goldmine said with an ugly face. This is, the devil in Zaref's book. I'm so hungry. Let me taste your souls. What's going on? Why do monsters appear in the flute? That monster is, Curse Song, is living magic, the magic of Zaref. Black Magister Zaref, the most ferocious black mage in the history of magic, it is unexpected that the legacy of hundreds of years ago will appear now. All the guild leaders looked at the demon Lullaby who appeared, and couldn't help but panic. Which one should I eat? Let you listen to that voice full of terror and death. Lullaby roared ferociously. Not good. The curse song is about to ring. Run away. Puff, puff, puff. Lucy said. Is this the curse song? Why is it so similar to the sound of farting? Hey. It's all your fault for smashing the flute. I'm going to eat your soul. Lullaby stretched out his huge claws and grabbed Genryusai. Not good. Bear. Genryusai's fist burst into flames and landed on Larabai's paw. Ah. The devil's claws were wrapped in crimson flames, and there was a smell of meat. Evil, all the demons were burned. Is this Genryusai's magic? Lullaby couldn't believe it. How is it possible? How can fire magic hurt my body? Genryusai said. The flame fused with Reiatsu can even burn the soul. You mere devil, don't be too arrogant. No. I'm going to kill you. The vitality of the demon was strong, and Larabai slapped Genryusai fiercely even though his claws were being burned. What a bullshit demon. It's only at the level of an S-rank mage, but with a stronger body. Clang. Genryusai looked at Lullaby with disdain, and slowly unsheathed the long knife at his waist. Cut and chop. The moment the sword was drawn, the light of the sword shone. Immediately afterwards, everyone saw that there was a knife mark from the head to the toe on Lullaby's huge body. Starting from the claws, they turned into fly ash and began to dissipate. In the blink of an eye, Lullaby's huge body was wiped out. Call work. Genryusai clapped his palms, and said with a little regret, it's just a pity that I have a good pair of barbecue tools. Zarif's demons were killed so easily. And it was wiped out. Makarov laughed triumphantly and said, ha ha ha. Did you see that? This is Fairy Tale's mage. Little Genryusai, do you really not consider joining Blue Pegasus? Even if you don't like pretty girls, you can pick a handsome guy. Makarov looked at Bob defensively and said, Bob, stay away from my children, besides, there are many beautiful girls in my guild, not to mention Mirajan and Urza, even the newcomer Lucis figure is not comparable to that of your guild. Of. Lucy complained, why come to me to talk about the figure? Hey, because Mirajan and Urza's face is more beautiful. Lucy said proudly, that means my figure is getting better. As he spoke, he showed off his enchanting figure. Makarov waved his hand and said, no, I didn't mean that at all. You perverted old man. Makarov said with a smile. In short, the matter has been resolved satisfactorily this time, and no damage has been caused. This is the best. Urza seemed to remember something, and whispered a few words in Makarov's ear. Makarov's face became paler and paler. Gah! Makarov rolled his eyes and passed out. President Makarov has passed out. Is it, curse song? Could it be the delayed effect of, curse song? President Makarov was cursed to death. What should we do? Hurry up and save people. Kingdom of Fury, Huayin Village. This is a famous tourist destination in the kingdom, attracting tourists from all over the country with its closeness to nature, wonderful music, and beautiful scenery such as blooming flowers. The most important thing is that when the ancient ginkgo trees here are in full bloom every year, couples from all over the world will come here. It is said that couples who witness the blooming of the ancient ginkgo tree together will last for a long time, and the relationship will be more gluey. Therefore, Huayin Village is also known as the paradise for lovers in the Kingdom of Fury. The sky is blue and clear. The green grass is full of exotic flowers and plants, competing for splendor. Next to the country road, a large wooden windmill moves with the wind. The breeze blew, and the leaves rattled. The sun shines through the gaps in the leaves, forming a beautiful scene of dots on the ground. The birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant, and the greenery is abundant. This place is so beautiful. Even before entering the village, just the scenery outside the village makes Urza feel relaxed and happy. Well, it's beautiful. Genryusai looked at Urza, who rarely showed a girlish look, and praised. I mean the scenery is beautiful. Urza was a little embarrassed by Genryusai's look, blushing and gave him a blank look. But I think you are more beautiful. Genryusai looked at Urza with deep eyes. After looking at each other, Urza immediately lowered his head shyly, not knowing where to put his hands. Let's go, Urza-chan. This is our first date, don't be so shy. Genryusai held Urza's little hand and said with a gentle smile on his face. Urza blushed even more, and wanted to pull out her little hand, but Genryusai held it too tightly, and couldn't break free no matter what. With a half push, Urza let Genryusai hold her little hand. Gradually, the two intertwined their fingers and walked into Huayin Village side by side. After paying the huge fine, Genryusai abandoned Makarov and the others and brought Urza here for a private date. Genryusai still remembers the expression on the president's face that was about to eat him. If it hadn't been blocked by Urza, the chairman might not have let Genryusai succeed so easily. After entering Hanano village, Genryusai and Urza were also attracted by the scenery in the village. Although Huayin village is called a village, it is not smaller than a town at all. The huge ancient ginkgo tree stands in the center of the village, even if it is thousands of meters apart, you can still see the dense canopy. The village is surrounded by mountains and fields, the scenery is rich and varied, and the village is dotted with flowers and plants. From time to time, you can see strange plants growing vigorously on the side of the road. As soon as he stepped into the village, various lively voices rang out. The sound of iron knocking in a blacksmith's shop. The cries of fruit stalls. The yelling of antique toys. The sound of a musician's instrument. The greetings of the villagers in their daily life. And the chatter of tourists. This also makes the village quite lively, with flowers and plants lined up on both sides, but decorated with lanterns and festoons, and shouting constantly. The real feeling of nature combined with the perfect village. All of this is extremely strange to Urza, who has been immersed in cultivation and missions all year round. Urza opened his eyes wide, looking at all this with a face full of novelty. But soon, Urza's gaze changed slightly. Except for the hawkers who sell goods and some villagers, there is only one type of people left in the village. That's lovers, lovers from all over the kingdom. In the village at this time, men and women are in pairs. Or walk hand in hand under the ancient ginkgo tree, or feed each other exquisite food in front of the stall. What's more, Urza even saw a man and a woman hugging and kissing in a corner of the village. All this had a huge impact on Urza. When it comes to training, doing missions, or making sabotage, Urza is better than anyone else. But if you talk about falling in love like this, then Urza is really no different from a blank sheet of paper. Urza-chan, it's impolite to peek at other people's kisses. Genryusai's teasing voice rang softly in her ears. Where, how can there be? Xiaozi was discovered by Genryusai, and Urza gave him a shy look. Genryusai leaned close to Urza's ear and whispered in her ear, Urza-chan, do we want to try it too? Huh. Urza was slightly taken aback. Try what? Genryusai pointed at the couple in the small alley, and whispered, kiss. Ah. Hearing Genryusai's embarrassing words, Urza's face instantly turned red. No. No. Urza shook his head like a rattle. This is the etiquette of Huayin village. Couples who come here must kiss affectionately under the witness of the ancient ginkgo tree. Genryusai kept fooling Urza. Yes, is it? Urza looked at Genryusai with a simple and ignorant face. Of course, you will be blessed in this way. If you don't want to go to the corner, we're under the ancient ginkgo tree. It's okay to kiss openly. No, that's even worse, or. Looking at Urza's flushed and hot face, you can tell that her CPU has been burned. Before Urza could finish speaking, she was pulled into a side alley by Genryusai. Wait, we're not in love yet. Walking into the alley with no one around, Urza's IQ finally came back. It's a pity, it's too late. Without waiting for her objection, Genryusai wrapped his arms around her waist while holding her hands above his head with one hand. As a result, Urza was pinned against the wall by Genryusai. Urza sauce. Feeling Genryusai's body slowly approaching, Urza couldn't help but recall the scene she just saw in her mind, and her eyes were full of autumn water. Urza whispered, no, people will see. Look and see, what are you afraid of? After Genryusai finished speaking, he kissed Urza's cherry lips heavily. Facing Genryusai's domineering kiss, Urza didn't choose to push Genryusai away, but sweetened his heart and closed his eyes. Afterwards, Urza's arm also slowly wrapped around Genryusai's neck, tapped his toes, and responded jerky to Genryusai. Not long after, two figures came out from the dark alley. Couples passing by on the street saw the two people walking out, and they all smiled kindly. Several men cast envious glances at Genryusai after seeing Urza's beautiful face. Genryusai stood there with a faint smile on his face, while Urza timidly hid behind Genryusai. At the position of her collarbone, there is a faint strawberry, and at the same time, there is a little water in her eyes. Unlike when he just entered, the white armor that Urza was wearing turned into a beautiful skirt at this time. At this moment, Urza seems to have lost a bit of fortitude, and has a bit more shyness and tenderness of a girl. Together with the handsome Genryusai, the two stood together and attracted many people's attention. Urza-chan, do you want to find a place to live first, or go around? Still reminiscing about Urza who made her blush and heartbeat just now, was brought back to reality by Genryusai's words. She looked at Genryusai with watery eyes and said, you decide, I'll listen to you. At this moment, Urza does not have the arrogance of a queen in the past at all, but has a feeling of being a little bird. Sure enough, no matter how resolute a woman is, she will show her tender side in front of the person she likes. Genryusai squeezed Urza's little hand, and said with a smile, then go for a walk, and go to sleep if you come here. Who wants to sleep with you? Urza protested softly. Genryusai said with a straight face, Urza-chan, you are my girlfriend now, shouldn't you be more intimate? We used to sleep separately at home, but now we are together. Isn't it normal to sleep together? Don't you think so? Hearing Genryusai's swear words, Urza sniffed blankly. Seems to be right. Genryusai said again, so Urza-chan has to fulfill the responsibility of a girlfriend. Urza always felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't put it into words. In the end, she could only let Genryusai drag her around the beautiful village. But soon, Genryusai regretted his decision. Genryusai, do I look good in this dress? Looks good, bought it. Genryusai, what's there? Let's go and see. Well, Genryusai, the jewelry here is so beautiful. You buy it if you like it. Wow, this flower is so beautiful. Why the color of each petal is different, so beautiful. It should be a feature of Huayin village, buy some back. Genryusai, I'm hungry, go get something to eat. Genryusai, look at this. Genryusai. One day. A whole day. Urza took Genryusai for a stroll from day to night, and bought all kinds of clothes, jewelry, and specialty products, which filled a cart, and even Genryusai had a lot of shopping bags hanging on his body. Genryusai doesn't care about money, but his own feet. In the end, they couldn't let it go, so they found a hotel and put the things they bought in the room. Then, Urza pulled Genryusai to continue shopping. Looking at the energetic Urza ahead, Genryusai doubted his strength for the first time. He was almost exhausted, and every time he entered a shop, he first looked for a place to rest. Genryusai underestimated the power of women shopping too much. From day to night, there is no rest except for eating. No, the night market in the village is even more lively. The closer to the ancient ginkgo tree, the more stalls around it. There are many novel trinkets on the stalls, and men and women hold hands and choose each other. Genryusai skillfully picked at the stalls, while Urza stood aside and looked at Genryusai with shining eyes. At this time, the figure of Genryusai fell into Urza's eyes, and his whole body was really emitting a warm light. A moment later, Genryusai had a sky blue headband and a necklace inlaid with red gemstones in Genryusai's hand. Genryusai stood up and put the headband and necklace into Urza's hands. Urza sauce, for you, do you like it? Urza looked at the two trinkets in his hands, his eyes were bent into a crescent, and his long eyelashes fluttered. Yes, I like it. When Urza received the trinket from Genryusai, her heart was filled with deep happiness. While talking, Urza stepped to the wooden stake full of ice flame fruits. She pointed to ice flame fruit, then winked at Genryusai again. Genryusai looked at Urza's cute appearance, smiled and said to the boss beside him. Boss, let's string ice flame fruit. Okay. The ice flame fruit is very similar to the candied haws in Genryusai's previous life. It's just that the ice flame fruit in the fairy tale world doesn't contain hawthorn, but a fruit called raccoon acid, which is not only sour and sweet, but also replenishes magic power. What is wrapped outside is not syrup, but a juice called ganmaishu, which tastes sweet and has a plant aroma. Genryusai took Urza's little hand, and Urza was walking on the busy street with the ice flame fruit in his hand. Urza looked around from time to time, and opened his small mouth slightly from time to time, eating the bunch of ice flame fruits. And Genryusai's gaze never left Urza's face. Noticing Genryusai's gaze, Urza's chewing ice flame fruit slowed down a lot, and at the same time, a blush flashed across her delicate and pretty face. Genryusai, what are you looking at? Genryusai smiled slightly. This Urza-chan is so cute, I've never seen it before. No. You are allowed to say. Hearing Genryusai's words, the blush on Urza's face deepened a little. As a fairy tale S-level mage, outsiders will always evaluate her as powerful, terrifying, beautiful, and cruel. Urza has never heard anyone call her cute. She was so ashamed that she even forgot to swallow the ice flame fruit in her mouth. At this time, Genryusai suddenly moved closer to Urza's face, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Urza sauce, can I have a bite? No. You can buy it yourself. Urza turned around quickly as if he was protecting some extremely precious treasure. No, Urza-chan, don't bring such exploitation. I've been shopping with you all day today, and I'm exhausted. Listening to Genryusai's wailing, Urza also seemed to feel that he had gone too far. So she turned around and handed the ice flame fruit in front of Genryusai. Hey, I only allow you to take a bite. Hey, I only allow you to take a bite. Genryusai didn't take the ice flame fruit from Urza's hand, nor did he take a bite of it, but still looked at her with smiling eyes. Urza looked at Genryusai warily. Genryusai, you're thinking about something bad, aren't you? I want you to feed me like they do. Genryusai pointed to a young couple who were feeding mouth to mouth in the distance. Brush. Urza's little face turned red instantly in the dark night. You, don't even think about it. Urza took a bite of the ice flame fruit viciously, and said with a bulging mouth. In public, how can? Before Urza finished his shy words, Genryusai pointed behind him and Urza. Looking in the direction Genryusai pointed, he saw a couple kissing. Watching their kiss, Urza turned away in embarrassment. Genryusai said with righteous indignation, how can such a thing be done in public? Urza-chan, I'm going to stop them. Stop. Stop. Urza gave Genryusai an angry look, and quickly pulled him back. I feed you. You can't eat it. You, don't, destroy people. Urza stopped Genryusai hastily and shyly. Cough. Hee. Genryusai coughed softly and gave Urza a wicked smile. You. Urza muttered in a low voice while taking a bite of the ice flame fruit in his hand. At the same time she blushed and waved to Genryusai, motioning him to come closer. Afterwards, Urza stood on tiptoe, leaned close to Genryusai's lips, and pushed the ice flame fruit in Genryusai's mouth. After all this was done, a sly smirk suddenly flashed in Urza's eyes. And Genryusai is carefully tasting the imported ice flame fruit. Gradually, Genryusai's gaze became a little strange. No, Urza sauce, you ate all the sugar outside, so just give me the sour raccoon fruit. Hearing Genryusai's words, a playful smile flashed in Urza's eyes. Deserve it. You're so sour. You, nasty. Guy. Don't run away Urza-chan, I will punish you severely today. You rascal, don't even think about it. The two just chased and fled, fighting along the bustling street. Along the way, the laughter of the two flew far away with the wind. In the early morning of the second day, when the first ray of sunlight shone into the room through the window, Genryusai and Urza opened their eyes at the same time. Ah! The moment the two looked at each other, Urza hid in the bed in shame and indignation. Looking at the messy bed sheets and that cherry-red flower, Genryusai gently hugged the shy girl. This day, even though I was in the room, I still smelled the faint fragrance of ginkgo blossoms. It has been 2 days since he and Urza came to Huayin village, and the sea of ginkgo flowers will finally be in full bloom today. The two walked on the streets of Huayin village, heading towards the east of the village. There, the village is bordered by ancient ginkgo trees, and you can directly enter the ancient ginkgo forest. After a while, in the sight of Genryusai and Urza, the spreading sea of ginkgo flowers gradually appeared. At this time, many lovers in pairs have gathered in front of the ancient ginkgo tree. These couples are either holding hands or embracing each other. Everyone is waiting for the moment when the ginkgo sea of flowers fully blooms. Genryusai and Urza stood on the periphery of the crowd, his big hand held Urza's hand tightly, and Urza snuggled into his arms obediently. Time passed little by little, and at a certain moment, bursts of yellow fluorescence suddenly appeared in the sea of ginkgo flowers. The yellow fluorescence is getting brighter and brighter, and at the same time, the ginkgo flower is fully blooming at this moment. At this moment, hundreds of hectares of ginkgo flowers are in full bloom, and Huayin village seems to have turned into a fairyland at this moment. It's blooming, the ancient ginkgo tree is blooming. What a beauty. Honey, I love you. I love you too. Ooh, beautiful. Everyone in the village was watching this scene, watching the scene where the ginkgo blossoms were in full bloom. Couples who witness the blooming of ginkgo can live together for a long time. All the couples present came to Huayin village just for this moment. The same goes for Genryusai and Urza. Genryusai looked at the blooming ginkgo in front of him, his eyes filled with yellow fluorescent light. All kinds of past memories emerged in his mind. Unknowingly, Genryusai's arms holding Urza tightened a bit. But when Genryusai was looking at the sea of ginkgo flowers, Urza's eyes never left Genryusai. Urza's pupils were shining brightly, and a figure was reflected in the water, and there was only one person in her eyes. Only Genryusai. Seeing Genryusai's appearance, Urza raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and couldn't help but tiptoed, pecking Genryusai's lips. At this moment, she is still that Urza who is shy when holding hands. All she wants now is to engrave Genryusai's shadow deeply in her heart, which can never be erased. Called back to reality by Urza's movement, Genryusai looked down at Urza in his arms. At this moment, under the 100 hectares of ginkgo flowers, among the yellow petals everywhere, Genryusai and Urza looked at each other. Urza, I love you. Genryusai whispered. Urza blushed slightly, but she still shouted softly, me too. Urza's voice fell, and the distance between their faces became closer and closer, and finally they kissed deeply. When the sea of ginkgo flowers is in full bloom, the scene is as bright as the stars in the sky, but the flowering period is also very short. Perhaps this is the common feature of all good things in the world. Magnolia, fairy tale. The guild, which used to be full of drinking and fighting, was now silent and eerily quiet. In the guild hall, all guild members were quietly doing their own things, occasionally looking at the bar. Even the president, Makarov, sitting on a corner of the bar table, was drinking very quietly. Not to mention people like Macau, who dare not even drink alcohol, and old smokers who dare not light Wakaba cigarettes, for fear of getting burned. As for the loudest Natsu, Gray, Happy, Elfman, and Rocky. Lie on the floor of the guild with a bruised nose, a swollen face, foaming at the mouth, and rolled eyes. Come on, Urza, this is a meeting gift prepared by my sister, do you like it? At the bar, Murajan took out a box of cosmetics with a smile and handed it to Urza. Thank you, Murajan. When you moved here, I didn't even give you a gift. It's really rude. Urza looked at Murajan with lightning eyes and a smile on his face. The two women were all smiling, but no one could feel the fire that collided between their eyes. Kana and Levi shrank back, feeling the surrounding temperature a little colder. Then Lucy hid aside, staring at Urza and Murajan with bright eyes. Wow, wonderful, so wonderful. Urza and Murajan are both vying to be the older sister. This scene is simply a Shura scene. Lucy analyzed nervously and excitedly, writing something with a pen from time to time. Oh, forgot to mention. In addition to being a celestial spirit wizard, Lucy also has a dream of writing novels, especially sadomasochistic romance novels. Murajan regarded herself as a sister when she came up, and Urza did not show any weakness, implying that she lived in Genryusai's house before Murajan, and spoke as the hostess. Lucy's eyes were full of gossip and inspiration, and she kept taking notes. Sitting at the bar, huddled up, Genryusai wanted to say something. He was suppressed by the sharp and cold eyes of the two women, and they shut their mouths in fright. Ever since Genryusai and Urza came back from dating, the two women got into a fight. It's not that they can't accept that Genryusai has other women. But neither of the two daughters is allowed, and the woman who has been regarded as an opponent since she was a child, overwhelms her. Whether it is Listener or other women, the second daughter does not have much hostility. Only the other party, I don't think I will give up the position of sister. It was precisely because the two women were facing each other that the atmosphere in the guild was so oppressive. Can't see the situation clearly. All lying on the ground. Brat, it's all because of you. Makarov moved his butt to Genryusai's side and punched him on the head. If you want to say that the person Makarov hates the most right now is Genryusai. Not only did the two flowers of the guild be bowed, but the relationship between them was not properly handled. Makarov couldn't get over his anger without beating him up. Call you a brat. Boom. I made you half-hearted. Bang bang. Kill you brat. Bang bang bang. The old man was probably really angry, turned into a giant form, and beat Genryusai mercilessly with his fists. The blow was not light at all, and Genryusai was smashed into the floor. Master, I'm not. It's not what? Brat, how dare you talk back? Boom. Boom. Makarov became more angry as he spoke, and hit Genryusai hard with his huge fist. President, what are you doing? President, don't hit, stop now. Murajan and Urza saw the beaten Genryusai, and immediately ran over, holding Makarov from left to right. After such a short time, Genryusai was already bruised and swollen, his clothes were torn, and he was beaten into a mess. Distress flashed in the eyes of the two women, and they tightly grasped Makarov's fist, which was still about to strike. President, it has nothing to do with Genryusai. President, we are really together. Well, I have nothing to do with Urza, I was just joking. Yes, President, calm down. The two girls, one on the left and one on the right, kept comforting Makarov. They knew that the reason why the president was angry was because he felt sorry for them. Boy, if you treat Murajan and Urza a little bit badly in the future, the old man will expel you from the guild and break your legs. Boom. Pointing at Genryusai, Makarov warned viciously. After finishing speaking, he still didn't forget to step on his foot, so he gave up and changed back to the appearance of a little old man. Gudong gudong. He glared at Genryusai with wide eyes, took a few sips of rum, and seemed to calm down a little. Yes, President, if Genryusai dares to treat Murajan and Urza badly in the future, we will kill him. That's right. Murajan, Urza, just tell us if you need anything. That's right. If Genryusai dares to make you wronged, he will be an enemy of our entire guild. Genryusai, you remember clearly. Oh. Other members also expressed their opinions at this time, and they will always stand on the side of Murajan and Urza. You guys. Urza showed a moving smile, these are her family members. Thank you all. Murajan was equally moved, and smiled under her breath. Genryusai stood up with a limp, put his arms around the slender waist of the second daughter, looked at everyone firmly, and said loudly. Don't worry, Murajan and Urza will be left to me. Hearing Genryusai's words, the two girls lowered their heads shyly. He wanted to break free from Genryusai's embrace, but he couldn't, so he could only let this guy hold him. Makarov smiled with relief, and the others also smiled in blessing. But then, Genryusai said. You single dogs, you should take care of yourself. In a word, it directly angered everyone. Including several members such as Macau and Alzak who were already married. This guy took down the two most beautiful flowers in the guild. It's already very enviable. How dare you provoke them so arrogantly? Genryusai, you are fooled. Beat him. I don't know who yelled, and everyone rushed up with bloodshot eyes and killing intent. Mila sauce, Urza sauce. Seeing the murderous faces of everyone in the guild, Genryusai also faltered and wanted to ask the second daughter for help. Murajan and Urza looked at each other and nodded tacitly. Then, no. The two women, one on the left and the other on the right, threw Genryusai directly into the crowd. I call you arrogant. It's great to have a girlfriend. Kill you. I'll make you scream, let you scream, bang bang bang. With Murajan and Urza, it's not a man with its tail between its legs. Bang bang bang. Why are you beating me? Who told you not to get out of the way? Are you so arrogant? Lousy beats you too. Come on, who is afraid of whom? Bang. Bang. The crowd surrounded Genryusai with fists and kicks, but soon, it turned into a gang fight. Tables, chairs and benches flew all over the sky, and Natsu and others, who were affected, woke up from their coma. Before I realized what happened, I joined the battle group. Unnoticed by everyone, Genryusai who was lying on the ground looked at Makarov, and the two smiled knowingly. Fighting didn't wake me up earlier. Natsu, who was all dirty and had shoe prints on his face, yelled dissatisfied. Natsu and Gray were all woken up by someone stepping on them. Not long after the fight started, it was forcefully suppressed by Makarov on the grounds of destroying the guild. As a result, Natsu and the others took a lot of beatings for nothing, but they didn't fight back. Idiot, is this the point? Looking not far away, Murajan, who was carefully administering medicine to Genryusai, and Urza, who was rebuking the guild members for misbehaving, Gray said with black lines. What did you say? You exhibitionist. You're an idiot for hanging your eyes. The foreheads of the two of them leaned against each other again, and their fists made a creak sound. Lucy, you must tell me the details later, hey. Happy moved closer to Lucy and said, rolling his tongue. Lucy smiled in seconds. No problem. Brother-in-law, what a man. Seeing that Genryusai can make his sister and Urza get along in harmony, Elfman shouted in admiration. I've put up with you for a long time, hang yourself up. Me too, exhibitionist. It hasn't been decided just now, come again. Afraid of you. Come on. Natsu and Gray didn't like each other, and they were about to fight again. At this time, suddenly, a strong sleepiness hit. This feeling. Very sleepy. Ha. Boom. Boom. Natsu and Gray, who were about to teach each other a lesson, suddenly yawned and fell to the floor with sleepy eyes. Then everyone in the guild fell down one after another as if they had been arranged. Even Murajan and Urza are no exception, but the difference is that Murajan fell in Genryusai's arms. Urza was still struggling to support himself, not letting himself fall asleep. Don't worry Urza, it's fine, I'm here. Genryusai wrapped his other hand around Urza's slender waist, and whispered in her ear softly. Urza leaned against Genryusai's arms, and the strong sense of security made her fall asleep peacefully. Tap tat tat. A figure who was wrapped in clothes and a turban, carrying 5 magic wands, and only a pair of eyes exposed walked in. Makarov looked up and said, Mistogen. Long time no see, Mistogen. Genryusai greeted Mistogen and said, your way of playing has not changed. Don't always do tasks alone, have a drink together when you have time. Mistogen nodded to the chairman and Genryusai as a greeting. Then he tore off a mission entrustment letter, waved it in front of Makarov and said, I've taken this mission. Makarov took a sip of his wine and said calmly, unlock the sleep magic. 5 4 3 2 1. Mistogen walked away as he counted down the seconds. The moment he stepped out of the guild, everyone who had just been sleeping woke up one after another. It feels like that guy has been here. The magic is still strong. This feeling, is it Mistogen? That fool. Hypnosis magic is still as powerful as ever. Lucy asked curiously. Mistogen. One of the fairy tale S-level mages. Loki replied from the side, and was shocked when he saw Lucy beside him. Lucy asked in surprise. S-class wizard. Is it as powerful as Genryusai and Urza? Why use sleep magic? It seems that because he doesn't like others to see his face, it seems that only the president and Genryusai in the guild have seen his appearance. Suddenly, a haughty voice sounded above everyone's heads. Not necessarily, I have also seen what Mistogen looks like. Laxus. Gray, Lucy and other guild members looked up to the second floor of the guild, and saw Laxus leaning on the guardrail with his elbow, looking down at everyone with a leisurely expression. Laxus. You're here. Laxus. Come down and fight with me. Natsu shouted when he saw Laxus. Laxus said playfully, come up if you have the ability. Wait for me. Natsu yelled and was about to run up to the second floor. Suddenly, a big hand descended from the sky and punched Natsu to the floor. Not yet, Natsu, you can't go up yet. Yo yo yo, you've made the old man angry. Laxus, you should be more moderate. Makarov glared at Laxus. HMPH. Laxus curled his lips in disdain, looked at Natsu contemptuously and said, this kind of trash is not even qualified to go to the second floor. Enough. Laxus, you don't want your hair anymore, do you? Genryusai looked at Laxus coldly. The powerful spiritual pressure caused Laxus' pupils to dilate instantly, his whole body shook, and he clenched his fists tightly to prevent his waist from bending down. Just wait, Genryusai. One day I will defeat you. Laxus turned away with his eyes wide open. After Laxus left, the guild gradually resumed its raucousness, drinking and talking. Lucy asked curiously, who is that person? He looks so arrogant. Laxus is also one of the strongest candidates for fairy tale. Gray looked a little serious. The strongest backup. Is it as strong as Genryusai? Lucy asked in surprise. Absolutely not. Gray replied immediately without thinking. He has seen Genryusai's ruthless blade. He does not believe that Laxus will be the opponent of that monster Genryusai. At the beginning, Laxus was beaten badly by his brother-in-law. A few years ago, Laxus was silent in front of his brother-in-law. Recently, he seems to have become stronger. He feels that he can challenge his brother-in-law. Lisana on the side came over with a glass of wine and exposed Laxus' background. Then the president didn't let Natsu go up to the second floor just now, why? Lucy was a little puzzled. Is there something extraordinary on the second floor? It's still too early for you. In fact, there is also a commission bulletin board on the second floor, but the commissions on it are all extremely difficult S-level tasks. Only S-rank mages in the guild can accept commissions. There are currently only 6 people in the guild, and they can go up to the second floor to accept tasks above S rank. 6 people. That's amazing. Who are they all? Guildarts, Genryu Sai, Laxus, Urza, Mistogen, and finally my sister. Lucy said in surprise. Miss Murajan too. Murajan has always given Lucy the impression of being a gentle and virtuous girl. She couldn't imagine that Murajan was actually an S-rank mage in the guild. Of course, sister is very strong. Lisana said proudly. Lucy turned to look at the bar and saw a blushing Murajan being teased by Genryu Sai. I can't see it at all. Lucy secretly complained in his heart. After Lucy got home, she was thinking about it, but she didn't expect that Miss Murajan was also an S-class. Ah. But as soon as she opened the bedroom door, she saw Natsu and Happy in her room. Why are you here? Hey, Lucy. Let's do the mission together. The next morning, fairy tale. It's not good, President. There is one less power of attorney on the second floor. Puff. Makarov, who was drinking, directly turned into a fountain. What? A power of attorney is missing. Which idiot would do such a thing? S-rank entrustment, but it will kill people. The members of the guild started discussing one after another, and everyone knew the danger of S-level entrustment. It's a cat with wings. Laxus put his feet on the railing on the second floor, and said mockingly. Happy. That's Natsu and Lucy. How come? What the hell are the two of them trying to do? Everyone didn't really believe that someone would take the S-rank order without authorization, but when they heard it was Natsu, that's fine. Anything that idiot can do is possible. But this is against the rules of the guild. Old man, this is a serious violation of the regulations. When they come back, you will expel them from the guild, right? Laxus looked very playful, and said gloatingly, or, he won't come back at all. Murajan couldn't stand it anymore, and walked to Laxus angrily. Laxus. Why don't you stop them when you see it? I thought it was a stray cat, who knew it was Happy. I didn't expect anyone to dare to accept the S-level mission without authorization. Laxus said with a face full of indifference. Murajan looked at Laxus sullenly. Those beautiful eyes were full of anger. This is very troublesome. Which order is it? Makarov crossed his arms and asked with a serious face. Cursed Devil's Island. Galuna Island. What? Laxus. Go and chase Natsu and the others back. Makarov was very worried, and said to his grandson. How is it possible, old man? I still have tasks to do later, and there is no need for such a guy in the guild who is self-righteous, overconfident, and needs someone to clean up the mess. Laxus refused without hesitation, turned around and left after speaking, ignoring Makarov at all. President, I'll go. Murajan said. No, Murajan, go get Genryu Sai. Makarov said cautiously. It's not that he doesn't trust Murajan's strength, but that he is worried that Natsu, Lucy, and Happy will hold back. For an S-level mission, any misjudgment may cost one's life. If Murajan was alone, Makarov wouldn't be worried. Even if he couldn't complete the task, Murajan would be able to escape unscathed. But to bring back Natsu and the others safely, Genryu Sai is safer. Genryu Sai was dragged back to the guild from Urza's bed by Murajan. He yawned and said to Makarov, who was sitting on the bar, Master, why did you call me here in such a hurry? There is one missing order form on the second floor, and Laxus saw that Happy took it away. Genryu Sai didn't feel sleepy at all, and asked seriously, which one is it? No one knows the difficulty of S-level missions better than these S-level mages. An accident may cause the mission to fail. Just like Murajan at the beginning, if Genryu Sai hadn't appeared in time, he would have almost collapsed in that S-level mission. Island of Devils. Makarov said, you go and bring those 3 idiots back. Gray, you go with Genryu Sai. Gray was taken aback when he heard this. Me. Genryu Sai alone is enough. The mission location is an island. Your ice magic may be able to help. Be sure to bring Natsu and the others back, and also complete the S-level mission by the way. Genryu Sai looked at Makarov speechlessly and said, this is your real purpose. Makarov said righteously, Am I that kind of person? Stop talking nonsense, let's go. New. Hi. Seeing Genryusai set off, Makarov also had a relaxed expression on his face. It's another S-level entrustment, hee. The town of Harjan. The two quickly arrived at the pier and asked if they had seen them bring a blue cat to Galuna Island. A punter uncle asked, you two are also fairy tale mages. Are you here to solve the Devil's Island mission? Uncle, who are you? There were two fairy tale mages in the morning who said they had accepted the curse mission of Island of Devils, and I sent them there. Those two guys sneaked out, and we are the real mages who are here to solve the task. Gray said angrily. I see, get on board. I'll take you to Galuna Island. Hearing Gray's explanation, the uncle's face changed slightly, and he said to Genryusai and Gray. The two boarded the boat quickly, and the boat drifted towards Galuna Island. I do not know how long it has been. There is Galuna Island in front of me. I can't go any further. If I get closer, I will also encounter a curse. The uncle stopped the boat, and the outline of an island could be vaguely seen in front of him. Just send it here, thank you, uncle. Gray used ice modeling magic with both hands. Ice make floor. Shua. The sea quickly froze, connecting to the island. Let's go. Shua. Genryusai used shunpo, and a pair of skates appeared under Gray's feet. The two of them soon came to a village, which looked a bit desolate and was surrounded by tall wooden fences. Hi. Is anyone there? Who are you? A few figures appeared inside the fence and asked vigilantly. We are fairy tale wizards. Did a man, a woman and a blue cat come here today? No, it's Gray's voice. It must be here to take us back. Natsu and Lucy were also in the village at this time, and when they heard Gray's voice, they immediately reacted. Shish. Just say that you haven't seen us, they are not welcome here, let them leave. He is here to arrest us, if we leave, no one will help you solve the curse. Natsu said anxiously to the villagers. No. I haven't seen it. Outsiders are not welcome here. Please leave. Genryusai had sensed the souls of Natsu, Lucy, and Happy a long time ago. His pupils shrunk, and a terrifying reiatsu covered them. Wow. This pressure. What is it? Why does gravity suddenly become stronger? What's going on? No. I can't hold on anymore. Natsu, Lucy, and Happy all changed their faces. Oops. It's Genryusai. The three of them are not at all sure of facing Genryusai. Just as they had guessed, Genryusai's voice sounded. You three idiots, hurry up and ask someone to open the door. Do you want me to find you out myself? The sound covering the reiatsu makes the hairs stand on end. Open the door. Open the door. Squeak. Soon the gate of the village was opened, and Natsu, Lucy, and Happy all knelt there obediently, as if admitting their mistake. An old man who looked like a village chief looked at Genryusai anxiously and asked, Hello, who are you? Genryusai's reiatsu just now scared everyone. Genryusai said, I'm the mage who came to solve this entrusted task. Genryusai, the two idiots of our guild didn't cause you any trouble. Thanks for watching.